Exactly. Is it live?
It's live. We're
Oh.
live.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't get
Just like that.
Oh,
no warning.
Hello.
Hello.
Give people a couple like a minute or two to I think it's just starting to spin up on all the different. All right, we got 11 people doing it on YouTube. All right, cool. What's up, everybody? Hello. There's 3 people here. We have a whole crew today. It's very exciting. Thanks everybody for joining us for another Teaching the Toolkit. Got myself, Jake. We've got Jack here. You're over there.
Yep. Hello, guys. How's it going?
Hello. And we have a special guest, Mr. Alan, the Sherba.
Up.
House, everybody, camera game builder extraordinaire is here. So yeah, what's going on, guys? This is Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Good day to be building, learning.
Always a good day to be building.
Made some great progress last week with getting some purchases with coins set up in the space. And so this week, excited to keep learning with how to do some quest stuff, some reward stuff, some just building general stuff. Yeah,
exactly. So I think we're going to try and do a couple of things today, like Jack, and so we're going to try and build a basic game that's got a backpack reward with it as well. And then we got Alan here to answer. People have questions about like building with the toolkit. Alan's I call him our visual scripting like master and camera master and just everything when it comes to like building dope games.
Unity master.
He is, yes, Unity master. Even though he's like, shut up, guys. Like
my Twitter bio says noodle cooker.
He is a
noodle cooker.
We need a noodle cooking game then. Like, can we do a noodle cooking?
Well, the visual scripting is the noodles.
I see. Yes. Okay. There we go. The noodle.
That's
cooker.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah. So, well, and also you should show some of the dope stuff that I think is coming out this week. Like the game that you're working on, but also like the camera stuff, like that you're building, is super dope. If you haven't seen it, check out Alan's Twitter. He's been posting some dope videos. What's your handle? Is it @Sherbs?
Alan Spatial.
@Alan Spatial. All right.
Pull it up right now. Show it off.
Show it off. Yeah, do a little show off. Do a little show and tell. People want to see what dope stuff you're working on. And that dope PSP,
noodle cooker,
which is awesome. So what are we looking at? This is like, it gets more insane every week.
Yeah, should I go backwards, like in reverse order? Like start with the earlier stuff?
I guess, yeah. So generally speaking, the goal recently for me has been to make like fun action games possible in Spatial. So the first step was like adding a whole ton of camera options so you can like offset the camera and like add shake and stuff and yeah, all that sort of stuff. So you can like zoom in.
So this is all stuff like this. Basically, you've been like previewing stuff that you're working on that's going to be possible in the toolkit. So like,
yeah, I think like tomorrow or something, all of like the camera nodes should be available. So you'll be able to do like set camera FOV or like set camera offset, and then it'll just, I don't know, they're pretty easy to use. But awesome. As far as like all these other clips, I'm just like working on a game that's like fun action game, and so putting all this stuff to work and figuring out how to make like an action game, but like because like figuring out how to like shoot things is an issue because like you want to use like particle systems and stuff to make it really fast. So yeah.
So those are all just particles, basically. Like
yeah, like when you shoot a bullet, it's like a particle system, and you hit play, and then you can read the collision from a system, and then read that collision in visual scripting, and then do something. So yeah, I'm not like creating a bunch of synced objects or prefabs or anything. It's all very
So these are all like not synced, basically. It's all like local.
Yeah. Nothing is synced in this video.
Yeah, but still dope though. Like it's pretty crazy that this spatial, like A year ago, we were doing art galleries and meetings. And now we've got this really dope shooter that looks like, I don't even know what this looks like.
Number go up. I love it. It looks it's so satisfying.
This is like a really simple example of like just having like a really responsive UI, I guess. Like instead of having like just a score, you have like this list that grows beneath it. It's like a pretty easy thing to do. So.
That's very cool. I love how like the animation when you run by the coins, how they all swoop into your body too. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, that's really, really cool.
Oh, this is one of the new angles.
Top-down view too. Like this is like a whole new perspective on spatial. So like new camera modes, you'll be able to do top-down view.
Yeah. So with the new camera system, it's you literally just define a virtual camera, and like that is just like the camera. So you can like place it anywhere, and it'll be static, or you could like in this case, I'm just like tracking it to the avatar. You could potentially do like your own first person or third person like character controller with like your own character and like its own camera rig. Like you could have your entirely own avatar system with this. So yeah, it definitely unlocks a lot of stuff.
I'm getting some real like Metal Gear Solid vibes with that.
Yeah, I'm hoping someone makes like a Resident Evil sort of thing. You gotta
or like the OG Grand Theft Auto top down view. Like yeah, that'll be so sick.
Yeah, wow. I can't wait. I'm excited to see what people make with those and what we make with that stuff. So nice.
Yeah. Some of the things we might want to work into to the stuff that we'll work on today. But if anyone has any questions around any of that camera stuff that's coming, you said it should be coming this week or within the next week, or any stuff related to visual scripting or just like game dev, hit up Alan. Either drop comments here in the comments if you're on YouTube or LinkedIn. You should be able to drop comments and we'll see those on here. I'll do my best to answer them. If not, feel free to shoot us a message on Discord or on Twitter, and we definitely want to answer those questions for you guys because that's what we're here for, to help everybody build some really dope experiences on the platform. So
I'm spotting one question already in the YouTube chat from My Lasting Memories. After a world is published, can I upload objects with colliders like separate houses? So if you publish the world already and then you go into the space through Spatial and upload stuff, anything you upload that way can't have a collider. If you wanted to add new stuff in, you'd have to go back into where you originally built it in Unity or your 3D modeling program and add in the extra houses there. Then they'll be able to have a collider. I believe that's right?
Yeah, I believe so. You can publish prefab interactive objects that would show up in your content menu, and those could be dropped in any world. But I don't believe the colliders would come with those. It's basically if you have an interactive object, say like a boombox or something like that you wanted to drop into any space. It could be a space that was built with one of like the free spatial templates or a model that's like uploaded as a custom environment, basically anything that's not built in Unity Toolkit. If you publish a prefab object, it then becomes accessible in your content menu, and then you can drop it into any space. But I don't believe the collider for that would come with it at this point. But yeah, good question. Arjak, should we just like jump in and start building today?
Yeah, I want to load up the golf cart space. I do that through here, right? Golf course driving. Scenes.
Yeah, scenes. Yeah.
This.
Yep, exactly.
Cool.
So I think that the thing that we wanted to do today was pretty simple. I think right now is basically have. In this case, we'll be using the golf course the golf course scene just to have an environment, but we can also find one off the Unity Asset Store. But basically have like a course with checkpoints, and you have to cross all those checkpoints as part of a quest. And then when you complete that, it would award you a backpack item and or a badge. We can do both for completing the course. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds perfect. I'm gonna love that. All right, so we got our golf carts. We're in the nice little fairway here. How do we think we should do this? Should I add in stuff like objects along the course first, like just plan the path, like start finish, or is there something I should do before that?
I think the thing we can start with is building the checkpoints, basically, right? And we can just start these with like simple cubes, and we'll turn that into a prefab object, so we can just drop that across the space.
Okay.
So I'm just envisioning this basically like big arches, right? These aren't going to look super great,
yeah.
but it's a good starting point. So the first thing I would start with making like a parent object, just an empty object, and call that like checkpoint or whatever you want. And then if you right click on checkpoint and then add a 3D object and a cube, and just add like 3 cubes so you can like duplicate that twice.
Nice.
And we can start to lay those out, and you can make that into an arch. So we'll take one of those cubes, and you can
like make a arch with these 3 cubes.
Gotcha. Yeah, like stretch 2 of the cubes tall and then 1 cube across, basically.
Okay, what's the thing I press to morph it?
So I wish I could draw on the screen here also. In the top left of the scene view, you have all those widgets. So the one I always choose the one at the bottom because it gives me all of those combined.
Okay.
Looks like you have your terrain selected. So yeah, select the cube. And then the little green cube. So this is like, I really wish I could draw on the screen. We need that for next time. So basically what you're looking at here is your rotation, transform, and scale widgets all at the same time. Exactly. So
gotcha. Okay.
The little green, blue, and red cubes at the end there help you scale in each of the different directions, up, down, right, left, effectively, X, Y, and Z axes. So yeah, when you pull up on the green cube, you're stretching it on the Y axis so you can make it taller. Exactly. And when you pull that red cube at the edge, that helps you. Yeah, that kind of helps you move it in 3D space. I don't use that. It's sometimes hard. I find it hard to move things that way.
It's a beautiful arch. I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah, I would use the arrow. Like I like to use the arrows. And for aligning things too, things that can be helpful. In the top right of the scene view, you kind of see the no, right below that in the top right corner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you hit the green arrow,
nice.
You can align. And then if you double click on, say, the cube or press F. So you can just, if you have that cube selected, just press F.
Oh.
And it lines up with
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So any object that you have selected, you can then press F and it'll center the view on that object. So this helps keep things aligned quickly and easily.
All right, we have something that's an arch-ish.
Yeah, let's
drive through that.
Let's get into. I mean, the one thing to do, to make it easy, if you have one of the side arches certain length, you can just duplicate that instead. So that.
True.
Make that
very
easier.
True.
However you want to go about doing it.
I'll stick with that. Now I could then duplicate this whole thing and add them throughout the rest of the way, right? Is that what we're going to do next?
We'll do something a little easier. So we're not done quite yet. So we have the arches, but and then we have basically that empty area in the middle that, in this case, the golf carts or even people go through. And we need to detect when people go through that archway, basically. So if we wanted to right click on the parent object for the checkpoint, and then let's add another cube, or 3D cube. And basically, let's fill that empty space
with the cube,
or most of it. Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Fill it with the cube. And this is going to basically be our trigger area for detecting when someone goes through it. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect as long as we're fitting in, where someone will be entering through.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much there.
We want to make sure at least on the XY, like it fills, but like on the top, it doesn't have to go all the way to the top because it's likely they won't. Yeah, that's fine. So then on that cube in the center that you just put in, if you want to remove the cube, the mesh renderer, exactly.
Okay.
So basically, we're just not going to show it, but there's a collider there on that object. So we can detect when people are going through it. And then on that object, we're going to add a trigger component. So on the right-hand side, click Add Component, and then Add Trigger. And then boom, we have a trigger.
Beautiful.
Trigger component. So now when people enter that trigger, something effectively can happen. So that's pretty cool. I think it would be cool to have the that checkpoint almost be like a semi-transparent blue almost. So when you go through it,
actually, that it was like
what we need to do is make sure that the box collider is set to is trigger.
Is trigger box collider. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So now we have our on enter and on exit things basically.
Yeah. So
basically what we're going to have is these checkpoints set up around the course and a quest basically that'll have you go through, say, a number of these different checkpoints in the space. So in order to do that, so we have like our checkpoint kind of set up. We can put those. Well, we're not quite done with that yet. Let's go back and now set up that quest. And then we'll go back to our checkpoint and modify it further. Since basically what we need to do is tie that checkpoint to a quest. So on the on enter event, we're going to have to say when someone enters it, add task progress to the quest, basically like checking that they're going through like 8 of them.
Okay. Makes sense to me.
So let's go and set up a quest. So outside of that checkpoint object on the left-hand side, just right click, go to spatial, and then quest.
Quest. Okay, nice.
And then on the right-hand side, this is where we can define our quest. So there you go. You can zoom in a little bit there. So it doesn't matter where this is in the scene, it's as long as it just exists.
Okay.
Because it's not related to a 3D like location, in space location. So we want to give the quest a name, which is kind of the title of the quest that appears. So we can give that quest, say, like complete the obstacle course. So actually not up there. That's just the that's just the Unity, how it appears in Unity.
This is the quest name. Yep.
So that's the quest name exactly. So that's down there. That's what it'll show in Spatial as the title for that. And then you can have a description as well. So that'll be kind of subtext below that if we wanted to. So we can say like, make it through all the checkpoints. And later we can do something maybe with like a time component.
Okay.
And then we can either start automatically. So as soon as someone loads into the space, it'll start right away. Which we'll do that in this case because we wanted to start it right away. So if you want to check that start automatically box.
Okay.
Other scenarios you can trigger. certain points, either through visual scripting or through a trigger or really through lots of other means, you can have a quest start at a certain point. Maybe it's when someone enters a specific area of your space, or maybe if it's once they complete another quest, then this quest will start. Then that's where, in a situation where you wouldn't want it to start automatically.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the others that we have here are save user progress, which is good to keep that on. Basically, if someone leaves and comes back to the space, we'll keep their progress in the quest saved. And then tasks are ordered. So if the tasks that we define here, which will just be one in this case, if there are multiple, you can enforce them to be in a specific order. And then celebrate uncomplete, which will basically like throw up confetti when someone completes the quest. And then for quest rewards, that's a little drop down you can open up. So we can define rewards for people to get. So that could be an item, that can be actually, as it's defined here, quest rewards is either a currency or a badge. And there are ways through visual scripting to we can reward a backpack item as well, which is pretty cool. So if you click that plus button, you can see we have badge and item. So an item could be a currency. It could be basically anything
like that ticket we made last week.
Yeah. So that's an item that has an ID, and we can reward that for completing the quest.
Okay, nice. Do you think we should have it be an item reward for this one?
Yeah, we can do an item reward. Do you have you published any items yet?
Other than that one from last week, no. So we don't need more.
So we'll need to create, an item, whether it's an avatar or something like that, to reward.
All right, should we do that, or should we do a badge? Because we can do a badge too. I've never done that before.
Yeah, we can go through creating a badge, and then maybe next week we can follow up with rewarding an item. It's a very similar process.
Okay. All right.
And then, so then we have, we'll create the badge and then the task. So let's create the task and we'll come back to the reward.
Gotcha.
So the task, if you click that plus button there under tasks, so this is where you can define each of the tasks that would appear in the quest. Mm-hmm. So in there, we're going to call that cross all checkpoints. And then there's types. So there's two types of tasks. You can have a check. So basically something happens once and then it's done, or a progress bar, meaning multiple things have to happen. It could be collect all the coins, collect 10 coins, or in this case, cross all the checkpoints. So we're going to do this as a progress bar. And as progress steps, let's say we'll have 5 to start, 5 checkpoints. So we'll have to have 5 steps to do this each time.
Okay.
I see a couple of questions. One I just saw come in. Can I reward people with an avatar in my world for completing the tasks and quests? And can they use that avatar in any world in Spatial? So so you can definitely do that. So first you'll have to publish that custom avatar to Spatial. So you'll have to do that separately to publish that. And that makes it available in Spatial Studio. And then just like we have when we set up the quest, there was the option to reward an item. You can reward that item, basically item ID, as a reward for completing the quest. Now, whether they can use that in any world in Spatial depends on how you publish it. So when you publish an avatar, you can publish it in the world context or the universal context. World context would basically mean that avatar could only be used within your world, where that avatar was published to. And then universal, I mean, that avatar could be used anywhere across spatial. So definitely recommend, as much as possible to create it universally. There are situations where you would want that to just be a world context avatar. Say it's, like Mecha Godzilla, like super huge avatar that you want people to use. That like maybe you're built like some Godzilla space or some like mech battle space. I know some people are working on that. Then you can have that avatar be world context because it makes sense in the context of that world. And there are limitations. So universal avatars have to fit within standard dimensions just because, say, I think it's about like 2.5 meters cubed, roughly, 2.5 meters tall and wide in width. Just because we don't want, if people use a custom avatar that's, say, 100 feet tall, and they bring it into another creator space that maybe it's a maze or some other space where they would get an unfair advantage for having an ultra huge avatar. And there are also limitations in terms of vertice size and meshes. So that way you don't come into someone's space that's maybe too heavy in terms of how many vertices it has, and then you load into that space with a really heavy avatar and could, coincidentally crash that space. So limiting the size of universal avatars so that we can guarantee that it'll work effectively no matter where you bring it into. Hope that answers your question.
Nice.
All right, cool. So we set up the quest here, and we have cross all the checkpoints. So now that we've set up our quest, now we can go back to the checkpoint and tie that to the quest.
Gotcha.
So if you click on the checkpoint and then click on the cube that was used as the trigger in the center.
Yep.
So back on the trigger event, then if you go and click on enter. So we have on exit, on enter. Then you can see there's a Unity event. So basically we can make things happen in the Unity context, or an animator event. Say we can play or pause or resync an animator. So if something's animating, maybe it's some animation that happens in the scene. And then there's quest events. So that's specifically to spatial quests. So basically we can tie things to spatial quests when this trigger gets tripped, basically. So under quest event, you want to hit that plus button and then choose a quest. So we have the complete the obstacle course quest. And then the next drop down, you can then choose what happens. Are we starting the quest? So this is a situation where, if we didn't have it start automatically, we can start it now. Reset the quest, we can start it over again. Add task progress, that's what we want, or complete task. So if we had a task that was a check task, like one thing happens, then we can do the complete task. In this case, we have task progress, add task progress, and then we want to choose across all checkpoints, which is the task that has the add task progress type. So now when someone goes through this checkpoint, it's going to add one to the task progress, basically. So
nice.
we basically have our checkpoint set up. Instead of duplicating it, like doing a Control D, we're going to create this as a prefab. That way, what that basically does is, if we want to update the checkpoints in the future, maybe if we want to change the color or update something related to the trigger or something like that, if we just do like a Control D and duplicate it, we would then have to go to each of the checkpoints and update them individually every single time. If we create it as a prefab, that basically lets us have sort of like a single source of truth that's duplicated across multiple times. So we can just update that prefab, and then all the checkpoints would get updated. So to create a prefab, you have, if you want to click on checkpoint, and if you click and drag that down into your project view down
to here.
Yeah, exactly. And then release. So now that's a prefab. So
that was way easier than I was expecting.
Yeah, that's super, super easy to do that. Now you can see that the checkpoint object in the scene is now highlighted in blue. The text where it says checkpoint in the scene.
I see.
And it has that blue cube next to it. That means it's a prefab, so that we can update it multiple times. So now if you click and drag the checkpoint from the project view down below and drag it into the scene.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
It's all set up already for you.
Nice.
So you can do that, or now you can, Command D or Control D in the scene on the checkpoint to duplicate it, but you'll be duplicating the prefab multiple times.
Oh, I did it again. Wow. Nice. That's so nice. I love that.
So exactly how we can lay that out. Yeah, let's do 5 of those. So I think we've just got 2 more. Or was that? Oh, that's 5. I'm just counting. I can't even get to 5. Okay, cool. So now if we go in and test that
a little bit,
see. Yeah, that's cool.
The quest should be active then.
Right. We should see the quest be active, and then as we go through each of these checkpoints, we should see that quest task progress increase.
Okay.
So first, we're going to have to set this up to be tested, basically. Since this was one of the sample scenes, we have the basics already set up here. We should have an entrance point already in the scene, which it looks like it is, and the thumbnail camera. So those are the 2 things that we need to publish any scene in Spatial. So we have those already in there. So now in the top right corner of the Unity window, you should see that gear icon.
Yes.
So if you click that, that's our spatial configuration window. So we want to create a new space to publish. First, let's make sure we're logged in to Spatial. So if you click on account in the top, you only have to do this one time, but okay, it looks like we're logged in, so we're good. So now let's create a new space project, basically, or package, so that we can publish that. So yeah, if you click the drop down for space and then click create. Yeah, so we have space.
Just create right there.
Yeah, so we just want to do this as a space and then click create. So now you can see down below, we've created a new package. So let's call this like golf, or obstacle course, or whatever golf obstacle course, whatever you want.
Obstacle course?
Golfsticle course. I love it.
There we go.
I love it.
And then publish?
Oh, not yet. Too soon.
Okay.
So basically, we've just created. I just tried clicking and dragging out the window, but I can't do that. So basically, what we have to do is associate a Unity scene with that project package. So if you go down below, you can see there's a scene property right there in that window, and it says done. So we have to associate a Unity scene with this package. So we're telling it what scene to publish, basically. So you can see in Unity below, there's that we're working in this golf course driving scene. We've been editing that. It's not saved at the moment. So if you just want to do a command save, command S just to save.
Yep.
So now that, so you're good. In the project window at the bottom, you see what looks like the Unity icon.
Yeah.
So
try that in there
is what means it represents a scene asset. So yeah, just click and drag that into the scene property. And then the other thing we need is a thumbnail just to associate with that. We provide one for you for the sample one. You can use any image, any 2D image for that thumbnail as well. And now that's set up. We're not going to publish it yet because publishing sends it to Spatial's servers, packages it up, and makes it available for anyone to enter. It doesn't make it live. It's still private by default. but it takes a few minutes to make that happen. Since we're building and developing, we don't have to wait for that. We want to be able to test more rapidly. So that's why we have set up the sandbox system in Spatial, so you can test more quickly. So on the back, you can close this window if you want to. Back on the top right, there's the button Test Active Scene. So if you hover over that, you'll see builds the active scene, golf course driving for testing in the Spatial web app. So we can confirm that it's going to test, in parentheses, the golf course driving scene, which is the name of the scene we're in. And when you hit that, it'll send it to our sandbox. It looks like we have an error, so let's take a look at that. Hit refresh, and we'll see what the issue is. All right, invalid reward.
Oh,
badge.
yeah.
So we forgot to add a badge reward. So that's good. It was good.
Yep.
We built in the system that does like really thorough checks, like if things don't meet certain qualifications or standards, or if there's an error, like if we're just, we're missing a reference. So in this case, we said we were going to give a badge in the quest rewards, but we never defined it. So that's good.
Yeah.
So let's go through setting up a badge. So if we go for this, we'll have to go into Spatial Studio. So this happens in your web browser. So if you open up Chrome or whatever or Arc, I guess you use Arc, right? Like me. And if you go to spatial.io/studio, this is, for those who aren't familiar with it, this is the basically your space for managing your assets and items, backpack items, currencies, items that you're selling for spatial coins or world currencies are all managed through here. And last week we were building this other world and with an entry ticket in that space. So I think right now we would be publishing this as a separate world. So what we can do is let's just make this part of that space for right now, since we don't want to. We can hit publish on the space, so it sets it up separately. And in the meantime, we can show people how to set up a badge. So if you want to actually, so basically to take a step back, in order to assign a badge or a currency to the space to make it a reward, we have to have a world for those things to exist within. And a world is basically this kind of abstract property that a world can have or will be able to have soon multiple spaces within it. And those spaces or scenes can share a common currency, like a custom currency, like Shroot Bucks or Jack Dollars or whatever you want to call it. And they can also share badges or items that are available for sale. But in order to make that world, we first have to publish a space to make it. You publish your space first, and that basically instantiates the world for the first time. So since we're building a separate space than the one we built last time, we'll have to publish this world first, and then we can create a badge and currency and stuff for it. In this case, so if you want to go back to that toolkit, the toolkit in Unity, the toolkit window, and then let's just hit publish. Well, actually, first we won't be able to because we haven't defined the badge yet. So if you go back, we'll have to remove that reward for now. So if you click that and hit minus, so we'll just remove that reward for now. We'll add it back in later.
Okay.
And then let's go and publish it so this gets spun up.
Publish.
And then click continue. And then click yes.
Yes.
So basically this is asking that, and you can click ignore. This is because things were saved before we hit, or weren't saved before we hit publish.
Okay.
And yeah, so this will publish things up to Spatial. And then once that's done, should be, depending on how busy things are in a particular day, could be as soon as 10, 15 minutes, could be a little bit longer. But as soon as that's ready, you'll get an email letting you know that that's published, and that world will be set up. But once that gets published, we'll be able to actually test it now in the sandbox. Basically, because we took away that quest reward option, so we'll still be able to test it. So if you click OK, now let's go, while that's being published and processing, let's go and test this in our sandbox. This isn't typical to go through, but since we removed that one issue, we'll be able to test it now. So basically what this is doing is just building it on locally for WebGL, and then it'll open up this scene in the web browser so we can test out really quick. So we'll be able to test out like the golf carts, which are already, a sample that are already set up for you, but we're really testing the checkpoints in the scene and making sure those are adding to the quest. Then I think other things like we'll want to do, if this is working, I think there'll be maybe a couple different things that we can try out. And Alan, maybe this is where you can help a little bit too. I think it would be cool to add just like a time component. Like, can we add just like a timer? And like, how fast can we go through the checkpoints? I think that could be a cool like next thing to add. So maybe that's something you could help us with, like getting that set up.
Yeah.
So the issue with the way that you get to set it up now is that if you want to add more interactivity through like VS, everything you've done is like through the inspector. So like adding more stuff will be a little janky because it'll be like working in two different areas. So the first step is just like to set up the trigger such that you're not using like, well, actually no, okay, that's not true. What we could do is we could just have a game manager that just tracks like the status of the quest. So when the quest starts, you start a timer, and then when you finish the quest, you end the timer.
Got it. Try hitting refresh. On
that. Go to the gear icon.
Here?
Yeah. And then I don't know. Never mind.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
does it have anything to do with oh wait, never mind.
No. World doesn't matter. Or maybe it might. Oh.
We just published. I mean, we just hit publish, so it doesn't have a world associated with it yet. But we should be able to test it though.
Maybe because we did publish before testing.
Jack, can you make a new go back into the panel? I think there's an issue with like when you rename the thing. So make a new package or
new world.
No. Yeah, space.
Oh,
great.
Yep, space, great.
And just leave the name how it is, and then reassign the scene in the thumbnail.
Okay.
That was we did create a new package. We weren't overriding the sample.
Yeah, I think there's a bug where like if you type in like the name of a package and it like matches another one, it like kind of messes it up or something. I don't know. But yeah, try
publish now or try and test this now.
Just did test.
Yeah, do test. Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
So you're saying, Alan, if it I mean, obviously that's something for us to fix, but if it matches another space, like another package that someone else has published?
No, I think it's like if you have a space called My Cool Space and you make another one and you name it My Cool Space 2, something while you're renaming it will like it'll like replace the SKU or something. I don't know, something weird.
Okay.
To be fully determined, but something weird.
Very specific.
Yeah, let's see. Look at that.
Boom. Beautiful.
That's amazing.
Beautiful. All right, so let's get in one of these golf carts. So we can see we got our quest on the bottom. That's dope.
Yep.
And we have our checkpoints, our beautiful checkpoints. Now let's see if we can drive through them and see what happens.
Boom. Up by 1.
Keep going.
Now 2.
3, 4. Hey.
Yeah.
Where did the last one go?
Oh no. Is it too high? Did I set it up too high off the ground maybe? I might have. Let's see.
That's a buzzkill.
Oh,
Hey,
there
there
we
we
go. Nice.
Oh, is it too high?
I
Off
will-
the ground? It might be.
That was a good confetti explosion we got right there.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Completed the quest. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Wow. That was awesome.
Yeah. All right. So now let's bring this to the next level and see if we can add a little timer component to it.
All right.
Just like track our time. So Alan, what do we need to do to make that happen? Because this is
So in this scene, in the hierarchy, let's make a new object called like game manager or something. Top left. Yeah.
Empty game on?
Yeah. And then add a script machine component. Not in there, on the right. And then make a new one, make a new graph, the button, yeah. And name it like timer, game manager, whatever you want.
Okay.
Okay, so first we're gonna do something with this quest. So we want to get a link to the quest object. So in the variables on the top, you want to make a new variable. Name it like
above that.
Oh, yep.
Name it like quest, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, type the name in first for some reason.
Got it.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
And then set the type to game object. Yep.
Nice.
And this lets us like basically just make a reference to something else in the scene. So we want to drag in the quest object on the left into that value field. Okay, so now that's probably all we need. Oh, actually, no, we should set something else up. So we're doing like a timer, but we want to like display this somehow. So we want to make a UI canvas. So right click there and just click UI canvas.
Oh, wrong one. Sorry. UI canvas.
And then delete that one. So in that canvas, you can click on the game. So when you're editing canvases, like they won't show up on the scene view, but they'll show up on the game view. So on the top.
Oh, here.
Game, yeah. And there's nothing in the canvas yet, so you don't see anything. But if you right click the canvas, there, yeah, and then do UI, and then text mesh pro near the top, yeah. So, I mean, we can just leave it there probably. Maybe like on the right, under the transform, move the Y up a little bit so it's maybe not in the center of the screen. No, at the very top. No.
That's
Oh.
I would do like 300. That's good.
Oh,
200.
there we go.
That's good. Okay. And then for now, you can just delete the text inside the text box, so it doesn't say new text. Yeah. And then back to our script. We got to get a reference to that object, so we want to make a new variable, and we can call it text. And then make the type be text mesh pro UGUI, the bottom one. Text mesh, the regular text mesh pro is for like non-UI. UGUI is UI. I guarantee anyone who's worked on UI has come to problems with that. Anyways, let's go to the edit graph. And then, hit OK. We got to set up a bunch of stuff in the background.
Okay. Loading.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, dock this in like the game view so that you can like drag the
Like put it in or like just next to
just
it?
like that. Perfect. Oh,
Okay.
no,
I had it
what you
wrong.
have is fine. Yeah.
This.
And then
Okay.
like get us some room because project view is too big.
Yeah,
Okay,
I had
perfect.
to. All right, cool.
Okay, so what we want to do is when you start the quest, we want to start a timer, and when you end the quest, we want to like stop the timer and then I don't know, do something maybe. So I actually need to look this up. What's the best node to do this?
There's tons of nodes, right?
There's a timer node.
Yeah, but it's not really what you want to use because like.
Why would it be the obvious one? Of course.
So the timer node is like, it's not a stopwatch node. It's like a, I guess a timer. It like counts down. We want to count up. I don't think there's. Take it real quick. Yeah. Okay. So there's nothing to do this like for us, so we got to do it ourselves. So we want to make a event. Wait, I'm trying to think of the best way to do it. Anyways, okay, let's make a event for when the quest starts. So right click to make a new node. And then okay, so to find all the spatial nodes, you go to like, there's two ways. We have like, there's like events and actions. To find all the actions, you go to spatial at the bottom. And then you can go to like, they're all organized. So you can go to like quest. And these are all the quests or like, there's a ton of things you can do. You can like get the names and set the current task. Anyways, we're not gonna use this. We're gonna go back a few. We're gonna go to the front of this menu. One more. And then go to events near the top. It's a little lightning bolt. And in here, there's another folder called spatial. And another folder called quests. So these are all the quest events. And we want to do on quest started. Yeah, that. And then we also want an on quest completed. You could just like type that in by, you don't have to go through the menus every time. Yep.
Okay, cool.
So for now, you can like put the completed one to the side. We're not going to use it yet. All
right.
So, okay. So basically what we're going to do is we need to, this node by itself on quest started, it won't get called because it needs like a reference to a quest. You can see on below it, it says like this. That means by default, it's looking for a quest on this object. On the right-hand side, like all of our components, like we don't have a quest over there, so it's not going to find anything. But we made that reference to the quest object, so we can drag that in by like
this into there.
Yeah, but like to the left a bit. There's like a drag area to the left. Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Yep.
Drag that in, and then like it'll drop a node, and then so the output of that node is on the right, and you can drag that output into the input of the event node.
Okay.
So basically what we're and then move them. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is like we're kind of like proxying that object to like check for a quest started event.
I get it. Yeah, it's like a pass through in a way.
What was that?
It's like passing through that. Oh, this is a quest. Like in a way, it's letting it know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So what we're going to do is we need to track time and some sort of state that's like we're currently like we are tracking time. So we need a Boolean and a float. A Boolean is like true or false, which will be we are counting or we are not counting. And the float will be the number. So on the left, there's this Blackboard section, and you can see like graph, object, scene. These are like you can put variables in here, and these are all different contexts. So object, if you click on object, those are like the public variables you defined earlier. But we don't want this to be actually. Yeah, for now we can just go to graph. And graph is just kind of like hidden values that, just don't show up in the inspector. You can just use them to calculate things. So first, let's make a variable called like counting, maybe, or is counting. Perfect. And make that a Boolean. And this is just like a true or false value. You can select true or false by hitting that checkbox. That'll like set the default value.
Okay.
When we want it to be false, so it's good.
Okay.
And then we want to make another variable that's like time.
Not counting, or
no, because so is counting like
it's either is or isn't. Yeah.
We are counting or we are not counting based on
Yeah.
value. So
Gotcha.
we want a variable that like counts the time. So we could name it just like timer, I guess. It's fine. And then make it a float. And a float is just like a number that has decimals, basically. So it could equal 1, or it could equal 1.1 or 0 or 0.12, whatever. And then, yeah. So first step is to like, okay, let's actually like set up the actual timer itself. So on update, the on update node basically fires every single frame, no matter what the frame rate is. So what we want to do is every frame, we want to add the amount of time that has passed since the previous frame. So first, we only want to do this if we are like is counting is true. So we can branch off that update and make an if node. Yep. And then we can plug drag the is counting into the graph and then plug it into the purple bit. No. So
nope. Connect this to here.
Yes.
And drag this up here somewhere, or no?
No. Okay, so nodes always go from like left to right, left being the input side and the right being the output side. So we want to output is counting into this new if node. So we would go from the get variable should be on the left.
Yeah, move it the other way around.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then put this into there.
Yep.
Cool.
And like you'll maybe notice like you can't put an input into an input. So like you can't drag that purple thing into the orange port.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So now basically if counting is true, the top arrow will fire. If it's not, the bottom arrow will fire. All we care about is if it's true. So let's just drag out from there. And what we want to do is set timer. Yep. So what we're going to do is every frame we're going to set the value of the timer. And what that value is going to be timer, the existing value of timer, which currently is 0, plus the amount of time that's passed. So get us a little bit of room because we're going to need to have like 4 nodes or something. No, like down, like down to the left. So let's add, let's drag in the timer variable.
Yep.
And to Josh was saying you could use like the timer node. There's like an actual timer node, and it gives you like an elapsed amount of time, but it has like limits. So unless you want to like set a timer for 1,000,000 seconds, you might run out of time. Anyways, so we want to add this to time that's passed. So drag out from the right and create an add node. And okay, if anyone's paying attention, this is not that important usually, but it can be. There's a whole bunch of different adds. Like the two you usually will be using is like scalar or whatever type you're using, and then generic. Something to consider, this is like really in the weeds, is like if you're using like integers, make sure you use generic and like multiply by integers, because scalar is like a float. I don't know. Maybe someone will come into an issue because like if you multiply a float by an integer, a lot of times it'll turn into a float even though you wanted it to be an integer. whatever. Anyways, just do a scalar, I guess, or generic. Doesn't matter. And actually, let's add the scalar one as well. So do like add scalar. I can actually show the difference. So on the top, okay, also at the very top of your screen, there's like a thing that says dim. Can you disable that?
Yeah.
Okay, so the add node has like these white ports, and that just means it's like an object port. So like this is visual scripting, basically C# and in C#, an object can have like an inherent like addition operator. So if you had two colors, for example, you could plug those into the add, and then you could like add colors together, or you could, I don't know, do anything. But on the bottom, you can see it's like explicitly like numbers. Like you can define a number for the second one. So just for differences.
Okay.
But you can just delete that second one, doesn't matter. Because what we're doing, it'll behave exactly the same way no matter which one we use, because they're both floats either way. So we want to add the amount of time that's passed. So to get that, you do look for the delta time node. And it's, the second one.
Okay.
And you want to, so we want to add this to timer. So we want to like put it into the add node. The add node was like putting them together.
It's like this?
Yeah. Yep.
That.
And
all right, cool.
so the result of that add node is just timer plus time that's passed. So now we can drag that into the set timer.
Right up here into the orange?
No.
Oh.
So you can right click a connection to delete it.
Okay. And I'm dragging it into set timer, you said.
Set variable.
So
like
up here?
On the bottom, there's that white part. It's unlabeled, but that's basically like
the
this
value
one.
That
This
we're
one. Set it to. That's like the new value it gets set to.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
cool.
This is kind of what I was like rambling about. Like, so that set variable has a white port. You can set that variable as like anything. So you could, if you're not careful, you could like accidentally set it as like a game object, and then your timer is now a game object instead of a number. So
interesting. Yeah. That would break things.
Yeah. So okay, so now I guess we should update the text now. So I just noticed we never like linked the text on the right. You can see it's like on the very right. There's like nothing. So just like drag the text from the left of the screen onto the right.
This text?
Yep. Cool. All right, perfect. So now let's get that text into let's drag them in. And then, so we want to go off of him, and we want to do a set text node.
Set
no, not that one. So, wrong one. Yeah, delete that. There's like, okay, it's like a million of these. So scroll down. No. Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, so this is what I was saying before. There's like Text Mesh Pro set text, but those aren't the right ones. You want to go further down to the UGUI, and there's like a million of these. The one you want to use at the very bottom, right there, yeah. Okay. So this takes in a string, which is like numbers. Or sorry, not numbers, just like words or letters or characters. They could be numbers, but it's like, it's like what you type strings into Google Docs. So we need to convert our float into a string. So we can branch off of the timer, the set timer.
Arrow or circle?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So the difference is like when you drag off of a node, it'll like be contextual in the menu that pops up. So if you drag off of that arrow node, it'll only pull up like actions that can be executed. If you dragged off of the little dot, it would pull up like it would pull up actions, but also maybe like something like that add node that's like only takes in inputs, no triggers. So anyways, look up type in like float to string, and then do the one that says the third one, format, I think. Yeah. So this is like, there's no way you would know this without like knowing C#, but when you do like float to string, you can like type in format codes to like make it look different. So you could type in like, I think you want to type in F1 in format, and that'll give you like 1 decimal place, because the number of our float will be like 0.1645345 as the game goes on, and we don't want to display that because it looks really janky and will make people think you don't know what you're doing. So you want to like format it so it's just like 1 decimal point, and then it looks nice.
So F1 in here.
Yeah, and I'm gonna double check that. And then you want to drag the timer into the top of that node.
Okay.
One second.
Oh, good.
Okay, so in the format, you actually want to type in, I think, like 0.0. And I'll do like the number to 1 decimal place, I think. I don't know. I never remember these. I always have to look them up. All right, so okay, so you want to, so the set variable, you want to take that output on the bottom and put it into the input of the next node. Is it possible to create your own UI leaderboard and display everyone's name in the top 10 of whatever? Yeah, so currently, to this guy in the chat, you could totally do that, but there's a lot of limitations. Like you could only have a leaderboard for like people that are currently in the lobby or something. Like you would need to, each player would need to like have some state assigned to them, and then I don't know. This is it's pretty complicated. Like if you don't know a lot about programming, this would be hard to explain. But we are working on actual leaderboards in the future, so this will be much more attainable soon. Anyways, so we now want to go from toString. We want to put the string into the text. So we want to go from toString to the set text, and we want to set the bottom variable as the new string.
This thing? Or that thing?
Yeah. Yes, you only have one option.
Oh, yeah.
And then orange to orange.
Nice.
Yes. So if we scroll out or zoom out a little bit, this tiny little chunk we have is like, if we read it like a book, it's like, if, zoom in a little bit, I can't see it.
Okay.
If is counting is true, then we want to set the timer to the timer plus the time that's passed. And then we want to convert that to a string. And then we're setting our UI element to output that string, which is cool. So far, is counting never gets set, so this will never do anything. So we need to enable it. So when the quest is started, we need to set is counting to true. So you could just branch off of that quest started node and do set is counting. And then you want to branch off the value input, which is on the bottom left. And then do a Boolean literal right at the top. Yeah. So this is a literal is just a way to like define a value, just like in the graph. So kind of like how we define variables on the left, you can just like define a value, and then so we want to enable it. So we want to set it to true. Yeah, perfect. and then we want to turn this off. So we want to do the same thing after quest completed, but disable it.
Okay. So, okay.
So you can just like copy paste these nodes.
Let's do that. Okay, nice.
Yeah. And then you need to define like the quest like we did with the first one.
I have to have that unchecked, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then quest, I just drag this in, or no, I drag the thing from over here, right?
So you can from this view, you could have clicked on like object on the left, on like the left panel. There's like an object variables. You could have gone there.
Okay.
But it's whatever.
So same thing. I gotcha.
Yep.
Oh, did that do it right or no?
Yeah.
Did I drag the wrong thing?
So what you're gonna do, what you like almost did was like you're gonna like drag a variable directly into that box. You really don't want to like put anything in that box because that box means like is like a direct reference to like an object, but this is like a script that lives outside of the context of like any object. So you could put this in, you could use this script for like 3 different scenes and your quest might be a different quest. So you always want to use variables.
So I don't successfully have anything in here yet, right? No. But this, I don't want to do that.
So you can't, but
okay.
Yeah, you can just drop the node in there.
Just like, the node?
Yeah.
Okay. This.
And then connect them.
To the beginning of on quest complete. Okay, yeah, there we go. That makes sense.
So I think if you hit test, this would probably work.
Okay. Let's see.
I'm guessing we should figure out a way to package this into a node that we can give to people. Obviously here we're referencing like quests and stuff, but like outside of that, like I wonder if that's possible. Just like timer node or like.
I mean, I don't know, maybe. The reusable part of this node is like add time to variable, but like then you have to add the toString stuff. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you'll be able to replay this whole thing. So if you've lost, if you missed any steps
after this, we could, because you can like make subgraphs basically. So you can like make your own nodes inside visual scripting. So you could like make a node that does the whole add time and get string. All right, so the quest has already started. Your time is ticking.
In times.
So we have to. Where are you going?
I'm trying to walk around, but I'm having a hard time. My WASD isn't working. I don't know why. My inputs aren't reacting. But I can type. Let me refresh.
Can you type in the chat?
Yeah, I could type in the chat. Oh wait, no, I can't type in this chat. What the heck?
That's good. Yeah, just refresh.
Can't do that either because then it wants to refresh the page that's streaming too. I'm just gonna retest.
That's not good.
Yeah.
I'll close that sandbox window.
I did.
All right.
Yeah. Come on, Unity. I'm gonna shrink you.
To Josh about user IDs. That's an interesting point I didn't realize. So I think I think we do have to add those. I was gonna say you could maybe like assign users like a custom ID with like the save system that's coming up, but I think that won't work.
We can get. You can pull. We can pull. There's the nodes for user ID and like profile picture. Is there?
So we pull display name, and you can get like actor ID, which is temporary. But if you have two people with the same username, then
yeah.
This is something I've never experienced this, but like my guy's auto walking right now. I didn't start walking or anything. Okay. Oh wait.
Wait, was that with the camera mode? Can you walk?
No. Well, when I touch my arrow key, it moves me forward. Like now I'm. All right. I'm gonna touch WASD does nothing. I press the up arrow and then I just start walking forward. I press the down. I stop. Now I can't move at all. Now I'm spinning my camera.
Swifty Gas says it's happened to him before. Double tap your move key W. Did you hear that?
Oh, yep. I got it to stop, but
can you not move forward still?
Oh. Never seen this before.
What you
see? The arrow keys make this happen.
We didn't add any keyboard overrides, obviously.
No, this is definitely not a spatial issue.
Yeah,
this is like you have sticky keys on or something weird.
Well, it was fine before, like before you like added this.
I mean, there keeps being like a caps lock enabled pop up. Like, what's up with that?
There we go. I think it's because I had Unity full screen. Something was up. Probably. Oh wait, maybe not. Now it's just doing stuff on its own. Like now I can use WASD. Now WASD's working. Okay. I just had to shrink Unity from being full screen, so that messed something up for some reason. Oh, all right. Now I have control.
Do we know where Spatial stores the player prefs on a local machine? No, and if we did, it doesn't really matter because we're not going to use player prefs coming next week. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Sorry.
All right, cool. We got the checkpoints. We got the timer. Now the last thing is semi-last thing.
So when you go to this final gate, the timer should stop. Nice. Oh, so you scored 148
and a half.
Forever.
Yeah, jeez, Jack, you suck at this. So slow.
I just gave you guys an score to beat, so you know.
Oh, okay, there you go. We just gotta start the timer at a different time, other than like right away.
Yeah. So if you wanted to do that, then what you would want to do is like, you can go into the space and like open the quest in the hierarchy. You have it set to like start automatically near the top.
Yeah.
So you could like uncheck that, and then you could like create an interactable somewhere that's like start quest and then start quest then.
Nice. Like, could I make that interactable be the golf cart? Like when you enter the golf cart, it starts pretty much if I wanted to.
Yeah, you could.
Okay. Nice. Cool. Dang. But so like I clicked on visual scripting graph here and nothing. I don't see anything. It's just so I need to.
Yeah. So
get that back up.
You can just like click on the.
Game manager. There we go.
Yeah. But like this window would just show like whatever script is selected, and you just didn't have one selected.
Makes sense. Okay. Nice. All right. Wow. Got deeper in that than I ever thought I would, but thank you for walking me through that very much.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah, we'll like I think we'll clean this up maybe a little bit, or like post like we can post this script to our examples, obviously with some caveats being like you need a quest set up and you need a canvas and text component set up. But I think we can post this in our samples for people to leverage, because I know some people are like, oh, take a screenshot, like, oh, let's like make sure to take a screenshot of that so we can save it, but we can share that out. with those two caveats.
Totally. We were piddling around with a badge earlier. Should we try and see if we can finish that, or would that?
Yeah, did that finish publishing? Does the world show up in your?
Let me see.
If you refresh this page, or if you got the email notification.
Oh, I see 2 worlds. Oh,
you do?
Wait. Golfstickle course is there.
Oh, it added to that same world. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I guess you had that selected in.
Yeah, I think I did when publishing.
Okay,
is that okay?
So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we had it in the same. I didn't realize. I thought it was publishing as a separate space, or as a separate world. So yeah, so you can have the multiple spaces in one world. So that's dope.
Nice.
So now we could have probably done this earlier. So yeah, Schmerz is saying like, do a different badge based on your time. I think maybe we can continue that part next week, but let's right now we'll add this like rewarding a badge piece. So if you go to badges in the top and then click new badge. So this is where we can create our badge, and these badges could be rewarded in any of the spaces that exist within this world. So right now it's called Untitled World, but we can give it a name. So yeah, winner, chicken dinner, and then you can. So the name will be what shows up on your profile. So the badges show up on people's profiles. So the name will show up there, and then if someone clicks on it, they can see the description and then what space that badge was won in. So if you want to give any context to the badge, you can give it a little description. It could be fun. It could be whatever you want it to be. And then most importantly, we'll need the thumbnail. So like the actual badge itself. So this can be like any PNG as long as it fits within those specifications, like 1024 by 1024, 1-to-1 ratio, and under a megabyte. So if it's an image that fits within that, it'll work. We give you a bunch of samples. So obviously you can create your own, any image you want to use can be used for that. But also, Jack, if you go back, click cancel, there's that little button there, click here for a template and examples. If you click that, it will bring you here as a Dropbox.
Nice.
A bunch of samples. We give you like a little template at the beginning, so you can make sure it's shaped correctly using whatever tools you want to use to create it. Or here's a bunch of like sample badges that you can use. So you could download that. So now if you want to upload, we can choose one of those.
Cool.
There you go. And then create badge. And that cool. Badge created successfully. And then it gives you that ID at the bottom. So that's what we needed before to reference in the quest rewards, was that ID. So you can click copy on that. And then if you go back into Unity and then to your quest, and then to the quest rewards, if you click the plus button underneath that, and then choose badge, and then the ID for it, just paste that in there. That's all you need to do. So now when someone completes the quest, there'll be a pop-up on the screen that says, hey, you won this badge, winner chicken dinner badge, and then it'll show up on your profile, and you can flex it to all your friends.
Nice. And so that only happens in the published version of the space, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, correct.
Nice.
So then the next phase, and this is something we can continue next week since we're about at a time, is doing. There's so much we can do this space. I think we can turn this into like, what's that game with the giant, like you have like a giant soccer ball, like kicking into nets?
Rocket League?
Yeah, like kind of like, right. Yeah, we can maybe start to build like a Rocket League like type of game. I think pretty dope. We got a timer, so we're figuring out ways to like almost like keep score. Or the next thing like Schmerz mentioned was giving different badges based on your time. So that would be, I think, something done through more visual scripting, being like, if the timer, you stop the time, if the timer, is less than this, then give this badge. If it's less than that, give if it's less than if it's less than this, give that badge effectively. There would have to be logic built in there to do that, but that could be something cool we can do next with visual scripting. So let's take note of that. Yeah, Swifty Gaz is saying Rocket League and Spatial. Let's make it happen. And we can work on it here. If other people want to work on the community, let's make Rocket League and Spatial happen. It can happen. We can do Rocket League with golf carts. I know people are building all their own vehicles too. It'll be like super dope to have Rocket League or Jet Ski League. Yeah. Ooh. Josh and Smurs, you guys want to build a Jet Ski League? That would be crazy.
That'd be wicked cool. Yeah.
That would be dope. But cool. All right. Thanks, Alan, for all that awesome help and insights. I know there was a lot of other questions and stuff that people had. Hopefully, like going through some visual scripting today for like a timer was helpful for some of that stuff. I know there was questions around I'm just going through here. Josh, you had some feedback in the Discord. We asked for some feedback on what to work on today. Some of that was around the roadmap of some of the new camera features that Alan's been working on at the beginning. We talked about that should be coming. Was that this week, Alan? On those new dope camera features. Was it this week or next week?
I think so.
Okay, cool. So in the next roughly 7 days, those new camera features should be coming, which is super, super dope. And you asked about roadmap on wearables, attachable status. So there is the avatar attachments. We'll need a whole separate session to go through avatar attachments, and there's still more to do there on our end in terms of making that a robust component. There's a lot of questions on visual scripting. I think we can definitely do a lot more of these streams around different. So we'll do specific things then instead of a broad overview. But there's a lot to cover. There's a lot to do with the Creator Toolkit. That's I know can be overwhelming at times, and we've been pushing out a crazy amount of updates every week. But we want to make this as digestible as possible so you all can make some dope experiences. So yeah, so good to know there's a lot coming. We'll get more into visual scripting stuff in subsequent sessions. If there are specific things that you want to see to do, like today we talked about how to create a timer with visual scripting. If there were other things that you wanted to see, whether it's with visual scripting or not, like, hey, how can I build like I see some people asking about like flying vehicles. I think it would be great to have some guest appearances on for people who built flying vehicles, like Josh and Cyber Baby and others have been building flying vehicles. We'd love to have you on. Teach us the toolkit. Teach us things we don't know, because you guys are really to its limits. I think that would be super, super dope. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining. Thank you, Alan, our guest educator, our guest noodle cooker.
Yes, thank you, Alan, expert teacher.
Yeah, can't wait to see Alan's working on a dope new game. So hopefully that'll be coming in soon-ish, in a few weeks or a month or something like that, TBD, but at some point. So that'll be really, really cool. Thanks, Jack, for being our resident learner student. And,
yes.
Yeah. We'll see you guys. Later. See you guys in Spatial. And with that, have a great Wednesday.
Yeah, have a great Wednesday, guys. Peace out.
Peace. Later.